Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Prospect Central 101. My name is Chris, and today joining me we have...
Keelan.
Daniel.
And we're going to be watching some Devonta Smith with you guys. Someone that many of us, and especially us three of course, have been very excited to get to. And he is the first player that we are able to watch of, I want to say, this year. I don't think I've recorded on this computer since my birthday. So hopefully you guys have all had a great start to your 2021. And we're going to kick it off post-Declaration Day, now that things are starting to settle down a little bit. We also know who our next Lions GM and head coach are going to be. So definitely starting to see a little bit of calm in the waters that has been the last month and a half, 2 months or so. And really start to get down into the details of what we're going to be looking at this draft process. And that starts today with Devonta Smith, who is a guy who could very well be heading to the Detroit Lions with the number 7 overall pick in this year's draft. So, with that said, Daniel, we'll start with you. What do you know about Devonta Smith coming into this, and do you have any preconceived notions based on what you've seen or heard about him so far?
I think this dude's a tremendous player, and I think, frankly, he's going to go ahead of where Detroit is picking, and he'll be the first wide receiver off the board. Just a really consistent, really well-rounded game. Route running's excellent. Hands are superb. Really reminds me a little bit of Antonio Brown.
Okay.
As a comp for me. He is a little bit skinny, but I'm not super worried about it. So that's my general impression.
Cool. Keelan, what do you got?
Well, before I get started, I just wanted to, talk about what you said. We're getting into the off season. 28 of the 32 teams are, starting their off season. We're seeing, new coaches and new general managers to half a dozen or more NFL teams, and I'm really looking forward to getting into free agency and into draft season. But yeah, on Devonta Smith, I've watched some of his tape earlier. I think probably a few weeks ago at least. If not, I'm a big fan of him. He has really good technique at the line of scrimmage. He's a refined route runner. He's not a Jerry Jeudy type of route runner, but I would still say he's extremely elite. He's a smart player. He has terrific hands. He can go up and catch the football. He has great run after catch ability. He's just one of the more extremely well-rounded receiver prospects that I've seen in my few years watching prospect film.
Nice. Well, sounds like you guys are both very excited about Devonta, and from what I've seen in live game action, I am myself as well, specifically in the National Championship game, which unfortunately we don't have for you guys today. On the other hand, a lot of you guys have probably seen the National Championship game as well as the semifinal. So we're going to be taking a look at three other games with you guys today. The first one of which is going to be the Conference Championship game against the Florida Gators.
And before we get into this, I've seen a lot of comps that I agree with. He reminds me a lot of Pro Football Hall of Famer Marvin Harrison.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that one a few times as well.
Yep, one of Peyton Manning's favorite targets. I think is a pretty good comp for him, and yeah, he's a really, really good football player. And the first Heisman Trophy winner as a receiver since Desmond Howard. And what year was that?
The 90s. I want to say 91, 92, 93, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pushing it to 720. That way we can at least see what we're doing. Okay, so he is going to be number 7. Does that sound right?
6.
6.
Okay. Draft position numbers all getting in my head already. Okay. So first thing that stands out to me about this is I'm gonna hog a little bit here. Is that they're sending him across the middle of the field. And I don't remember which one of you guys it was that brought up the size thing. It might have even been both of you. But what we're seeing here is Steve Sarkisian, Alabama, former Alabama OC now, is trusting Devonta Smith to get the route and the catch in the middle of the field. So they clearly don't really have any worries, at least based off of the very, very first play of the game. They don't have any concerns with his physicality, with his strength, with his ability to make those plays in very contested, potentially, situations.
Yep.
Which goes back to the size question.
What is he, about 6 foot 165 or so?
That sounds about right. Yep. Oh, that's beautiful. Just an excellent round cut.
Nice. Just
Okay. So, we all saw what happened in the Browns game. I think, right? You guys both watched the Browns game?
Yes, I did.
Very interesting by Devontae. Now, of course, he's not in the end zone. So a little bit different.
If he fumbles that football and goes out of bounds, it's still Alabama football.
Yeah. So a little bit less of a concern there than there was, for example, in the Cleveland game. But just very interesting to see if that is a potential issue. On the other hand, in this particular case, it's a good thing. So
Sorry, you go ahead, Keelan.
I was going to say most teams teach their skill position players to dive for the first down or dive for the touchdown. It's very few teams tell them not to. The Patriots, for example, Bill Belichick teaches his players not to dive for the end zone because of that stupid fumble rule. And that was a really great play there.
Your point. We'll go back and rewatch.
No, that was basically it. There's just very few teams that teach the players to not dive in the end zone because of that fumble risk. So I wouldn't really call it a concern personally.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It depends on your team's principles, and I think that ultimately, unless you think that he's not coachable, which we have no reason to believe at this point,
Exactly.
It's fine.
If your team tells you not to, I'd imagine that it's not a hard fix, that you just wouldn't do it next game. But let's continue.
So, I'll let you guys start on this one because I'm probably going to end up hogging a lot of this for the most part.
I love how he finds that soft spot between the two defenders there.
Gee, you're getting good at this, Keelan.
It's just he recognizes the safety coming in and the corner. I believe probably in zone coverage. I didn't watch, but he just gets in the middle there and makes it really easy for a guy with a bit of a noodle of an arm like Mac Jones to put it on the money and get the easy play.
Daniel, your addition?
Not only that, but just a beautiful high point of a football, posture perfect, and just a really solid technique with the hand placement and everything. Really like what I see from him on this play.
You got it. Both of you guys, nice job. I didn't have to say anything. Those are the 2 points I was going to make myself as well, the separation point and the hands.
Yep.
And there you go. You're absolutely right on this, Keelan. Taking a look at the coverage side.
Yep.
To be fair, that's also, just as an added bonus, a little bit of credit to Sarkisian for the play calling,
Oh yeah.
knowing that Florida's going to be in that type of defensive look. And here we go with the rack. Unfortunately, isn't able to shake the tackle.
But I like
definitely
how
has that
he
element to his
still
game.
on plays like that. As much as it looks simple, I do like the fact that he dives forward for even the extra 2 or 3 yards.
Yep.
Oh my god. Oh my. Who was that?
Oh, that was John Mechie. That was a sophomore receiver.
Oh my.
He's
Unfortunately, we are not watching Mac Jones tape today. So.
that was a god awful throw. But John
Oh my
Mechie's the
goodness.
first round pick next year. Oh, nice.
So, I think the last time I saw a wide receiver this open when I was watching the actual wide receiver tape was probably Hollywood Brown.
And Hollywood Brown is a 4-2 player or 4-3.
Well, I mean,
This is just
part of that was also scheme too, with the
well,
Miami
yeah.
offense. And part of this is also going to be schematics, as they're going to take you through the graphic here. And also, part of this is just Florida's coverage being what it is right now, specifically a year after losing C.J. Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Okay, Odell. Wow.
Jeez.
Punt returner. Oh.
Okay. What I like about this is a number of things, but just looking at it from a traits perspective, first off, is you really got a feel for his first step and his burst. Right, so
Yeah.
there's a little bit of concern about, okay, is he going to run a 4-4 or a 4-3-4? He's not really a burner receiver in the same way
No,
that, as we mentioned, Hollywood Brown.
or
But what
Jalen Waddle, his teammate.
Right, but what we get to see here is we get to see the initial first step and burst. And if you watch the footwork, it's obviously going pretty fast. But he actually has a little bit of a cutback inside, which is how he gets inside of this defender that I'm circling with my mouse right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you really just get to see that acceleration and that top speed. So he doesn't necessarily have that 20 to 40 range, but he has that acceleration. He gets up to that speed quick.
Not only that, but he's a really shifty player, more than he is, like a speed threat. He's a really shifty, like you mentioned, his burst and acceleration is really great. But yeah, no, he's not gonna wow you with his 40 time, but he's gonna wow you in his other combine, and his shuttles, his 3-cone, his whatever else. He's just
For the record,
everything.
I think that he will run a good 40 time. Like, it'll be solid. It'll be like 4.45 in my opinion or so. It'll be fine.
That sounds about right to me.
So, Keelan, was that your last point?
I think so. Yeah, we can continue.
Okay, so the other thing that I want to go back to is that was the traits side. Okay, you get to see some of the athleticism. But what I love about this play right? And maybe it's also part of it is the way that the person cut up the film. So props to the person who did this cut up. I'm gonna see if I can back this up. But while we wait for that, who was that? ZZ Liam's ZZ. So props to Liam for doing this. But we also get to see him play on special teams. And this is great because special teams really is all about the mentals. It shows you're willing to compete for your team. It shows the passion that you have to play in multiple phases. It shows that, and from the other perspective, Alabama trusts him to take that extra hit. And that goes back to the size and the injury and blah blah blah, those other concerns that people have. But really, it's all about the mental side, and you really get to a feel for, okay, this guy's willing to play special teams. You know he's going to do anything to help your team win the game. It's really that simple. So for like a star receiver like Devonta, who's again a Heisman winner here, like we're not talking about just some average third-round receiver. For him, with the kind of star power that he has, and all the other guys that are in that Alabama receiving room, to be the guy, yeah, I'm good with being a punt returner. Sold. That's the type of passion and energy and team commitment that we were going to be looking for in Detroit. Again, going back to that point, this year moving forward with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. So, mental traits, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you also get to see the mental traits from the receiver side of things, just with the natural mentals that you're looking for from a receiver, with plays like this. And Keelan already brought it up earlier with the one corner out that we saw. His ability to recognize the coverage, find those soft spots in those zones, and sit when needed, really shows his ability to recognize and disrupt different styles of coverage.
This was a year ago, so I apologize if I'm misremembering. But this is a trait that had me really extremely high on a guy like Michael Pittman Jr. coming out of Southern California. Just the mental awareness to be able to, find the soft spot in the zone and sit and let the ball come to you.
Oh, double coverage though.
That was hella close. It's just still a really nice route, and he had him beat. That was just a bit of an underthrow too.
And, yep, beautiful. Oh,
Wow.
beautiful. I love this because it really shows you the mental traits that he has, right? And I don't know if you heard me, but I was saying, like, right at this point in the play, like, that you got to cut this in because you see that outside zone in the middle of the field there by the corner. You recognize that coverage, cut that right inside, and then sit in that soft spot. Beautiful mental traits. Love that about him so far. Okay, nice screen. I think the second or third time we've seen a screen pass to him. So definitely trusting him in that run after catch phase as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
beautiful.
man.
Oh, yes. That's a...
So, again, just this goes all back to those mental traits and that recognizing the coverages, right? What you're going to see him do here is go around the coverage, behind the back. They're going to try and press him off the line, and then he just slides right in behind the coverage and in front of the other defender.
Mm-hmm.
Right in that box.
That's beautiful.
It's all mentals.
I love Steve Sarkisian as a play caller, but he's not drawing up those. He's not drawing Smith open that often. It's the fact that he recognizes what the coverage is and is willing to adapt his route to make him open for Mac Jones and to be able to make that catch.
A little bit more of a different way to get the ball in his hands with that jet.
Mm-hmm. I really like his shiftiness. He didn't get too much yardage there, but he's got underrated speed and shiftiness, which is a trait I really like from him.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And it all goes back to the mentals. I'm telling you guys, I ranted about this, I want to say November. It might have been October. But it's all about the mentals. I'm going to keep harping on this probably every single video that we do this draft season. Especially now that we have Holmes and Campbell here. And just... And not only is it the willingness to block and do this extra effort. And look how he's running to the boundary. He's not just lollygagging over and walking and jogging, and he's running over, diagnoses the key, and then angles out. That's offensive lineman tight end type blocking technique. And he takes out the corner and opens up Waddle for rack. That's not Jalen Waddle. That's Mechie.
That's Mechie, yeah. Yeah, Waddle was hurt at this time.
This is a dude who's like 165 freaking pounds that's blocking a freaking corner on the boundary in a rack. Like, get me this guy on my freaking team. AKA at Lions. Oh, that was not a good play call. Also, that was a terrible read by Matt Jones. What are you doing?
I'm not going to call it a bad play call. They obviously ran Smith there as I would assume, a disguise to open up Mechie, and Mac is just a moron.
I like the idea of double drags on a 4th and 3.
But I think the play design was to have Mechie open in the first down marker, which is what worked if you watch number 8. It's just Mac Jones is an idiot, and that's what I'm blaming it more on his decision making than on the play call. But whatever it is, it's not on Devonta, and there he is on punt return.
Oh wow, 84-yard return touchdown. All right.
Interesting. I want to watch that later. I just want to see that play.
Good poison. Not that matter because it went out of bounds, but good poison call. Oh my. So obviously they're not pressing him. That's not a thing that they're doing. Florida, of course, is more of his own team.
Yep.
But the release off the line.
And I said they tried pressing him and it didn't succeed.
But the release off the line and the quickness in the burst, and then the ability to time this cut to maximize that space in between the defenders.
Yep.
So he's just really maximizing his potential to win all 3 phases of the play. Now, is he supposed to be going to the Senior Bowl? I thought I saw that somewhere.
Yep, he'll be at the Senior Bowl.
It's
on. He won't be playing because he has a thumb injury, but he'll be there to meet with teams and whatnot.
Oh, man. I was going to say it'd be really interesting to see how he wins his reps with his hands getting off the press.
I don't know if it's confirmed that he's not going to play, but
I wouldn't necessarily
but
even be concerned about him playing in the game. I would want to see more so the practice tape.
well, yeah. I just meant I didn't know. I don't know if he's going to be participating, but I do love to see him. You know, he's on the Dolphins team too, so it'll be really nice to see, even if he can't play. You know, if he's hopefully by the coaching staff. Just picking their brain and hopefully impressing them, so he can be hopefully the number 3 pick for them. If hopefully in his case, not for the Lions.
Shout out to our resident Kyle Trask lover.
Oh, that's a great.
What
Oh,
was
rip.
that?
Did that just bounce off his hands, or was that an overthrow?
That was not even good. Okay, we're gonna see another look at this, but like that did not appear to be.
Oh.
You should not be jumping for a ball of this.
That should that should not be that. That's not on Devonta after further review. I was just so astonished that someone could miss a throw like that. So I had to originally. Oh yeah, I don't why. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to go for a jump ball on a 5-yard out route.
That wasn't even 5 yards. I mean, okay, if we're going to be picky about this, he does get his hands on the ball. So this technically is a catchable, a quote. I'm literally doing the fake quotation thing with my fingers. Catchable ball. But, like, yeah, it's very difficult to.
But I'm sure he wasn't. I'm sure he wasn't even expecting to high point the ball
No,
at that
he wasn't.
point.
Yeah, you go in, you expect to play like that down the field, but if you're running a little out route like that, I'm sure he didn't go. He was not expecting that. He's expecting, a much lower throw. So that's part of the reason he didn't come up with that football. I'm not really gonna, dock him on that play.
Yep. All about that. In this case, it's a triangle, but same principle.
Just terrific mental awareness, like you've brought up quite a bit. It's absolutely phenomenal.
This dude's not even a returner. By returner, I mean deep man. This is a top 10 projected wide receiver playing on special teams as in a non-return role.
Yep. Just shows you his coachability and his team first mentality for sure.
Yeah. So I have a little whiteboard that I'm keeping notes on right now. Unfortunately, you guys aren't able to see this. You guys on the call will, Daniel and Keelan. But I'm keeping track of all my grades as I go through the tape in all 4 categories, that being hands, technique, run after catch, and mental traits. And I'm literally at the point where I'm literally just wrote on my board under mentals 25 and started, 25 being my max score. Because there's literally nothing else that would dissuade me otherwise. at this point.
Yep.
I sent it in our group chat, by the way.
Just a profession. Whoops.
Oh my. And again, I talked a little bit about how I want to see a little bit more of the hand side of things. But really, the footwork here at the line.
Pardon?
Watch the footwork at the line of scrimmage on this release. Release being, of course, for those of you guys who are new, the ability to maximize separation at the line of scrimmage.
Dang.
And he gets that inside
Very
leverage.
efficient.
His footwork is just absolutely extraordinary. But yeah, watch Devonta's footwork. Boom. And then he obviously knows that he's on that half of the field. The ball is placed on the right hash. So naturally, your room to work on the right side of the field is going to be lessened. So from there, you're thinking, okay, you're probably going to end up having to wing inside, meaning to the left. So what he does is he maximizes the space by getting this inside leverage to maximize that space that he has to work over the middle of the field. And then as I talked about the first play of the game, they're not afraid of using him at all in the middle of the field work.
Yeah, just an incredibly polished professional receiver playing college ball. It's unfair, really, for the other team.
Yeah. Yes, so for technique, I think I've pretty much seen all I need to see again. I'm going to end up giving him a 24, with the -1 being hand release moves at the line. Unless we see a little bit more of that hand usage, in which case it would go up to a 25, obviously. I feel pretty good about giving him a 24 in that category. So it's just so clear to me that what, and also for me too, part of this is that I have seen him a couple of times otherwise as well. With that being the 2 playoff games. So I do have a little bit more background than I do for a normal prospect. So that's also kind of influencing my grades and my confidence level a little bit as well. But based on what we're seeing in this game and what we've seen in those 2 playoff games, we do have a couple more games to watch today as well, of course. But I feel really comfortable and confident with the 25 mentals and 24 technical ability.
No complaints from me here.
Sweet. So, it sounds like we may have temporarily at least lost Keelan. So, Daniel, you're up first on your thoughts on that game from Devonta Smith.
Yeah, I mean, like, the dude's just a professional. Like, he just knows exactly the right tool to use in every situation. He gets where the open spaces on the fields is.
Apologies, I'm back.
Cool.
Hey, Keelan.
Unfortunately, the screen... Oh, never mind, we're here.
Okay, Daniel, continue.
He understands how to high point the football. He's consistently hands catching. Just pretty good speed, insane quickness. Just a tremendous tremendous prospect.
Yeah, and I think that, unfortunately, Keelan missed the last touchdown that he had. So, if we get the chance to, when we're done recording, to go back and watch just the end of that game. But really, his ability to win inside and out is really nice to see. His ability to win over all three levels of the field, both deep, or all three intermediate, deep, and short. His ability to maximize both outside and inside of the field. He really is a threat to create all over the field, from 20 to 20, from inside the 20s in the red zone, to left hash to right hash to in the middle. He can win anywhere on the field against any type of coverage. Really, someone who has that versatility and that dynamic is dynamism. Is that a word? Dynamicism.
Dynamism.
Yeah, to be able to thrive and bring an extra element to any offense.
Right.
No matter who your other wide receivers are or who your quarterback is.
Yep.
So, Keelan, unfortunately, didn't miss the end of the game, but I will give you your chance to share your thoughts on the first part of the game that you were able to see.
Yeah, for sure. Basically, I'm not too sure what you and Daniel said. I missed the, I guess, end of Daniel's thoughts, but I'll just, say a quick thing. I love his route running. He has really good athleticism, good speed, great quickness. But above all else, he's an extremely smart player. His mental traits are through the roof, as we've mentioned on multiple occasions now. But just the pure, not only ability to read the coverage and find the soft spot in the zone, but the willingness to work and improve and do anything to help the team win is a huge plus to me. As it's as well as I know it will be from listening to Brad Holmes' introductory press conference. A huge thing was on no ego in the building. No one person's better than anyone else. You need a group of men to win, and I think this is a character that will fit into that locker room.
For sure. And again, just the passion, right? And you talked about like the passion element and that football character side as well. And I think Devonta brings a lot of that capacity as well. Okay.
Very cool. I believe that was an NFL catch too. I saw 2 feet in bounds.
Yep. Nice.
Finishing the play as a blocker too.
Yep. Okay, good drag. Whoops. That was my marker.
And for someone who's been called undersized, as a big as a big negative of his to a few draft guys on social media, seeing him, not only the willingness to block but the power he puts in the blocks. He's pushing guys back that are probably, most of them are heavier than him, and he's just pushing them back and taking them out of the play, which is a big prop, and some big props to him, and something that I really love to see, just that pure strength.
Yeah, and also something that I like to see that was kind of showcased by the previous play was just his desire to get north-south quickly in any sort of yak opportunity. There's no room for him to just ooh, I'm going to make a move. Nope. Just get straight up field and get the yardage that you can get. You just love to see it from a wide receiver, and I think that it demonstrates real maturity that he's able to just think north south. Don't try to do the flashy big move that's gonna get you 20 yards when you can get the guaranteed 10.
Yep. And that's a great point. I hadn't even necessarily thought of, because it's typically something that you associate more with the running back position, or at least me. So very, very nicely brought up by Daniel here. But what's going to be interesting moving a little bit more forward is on this play, it almost looks like he's going to cut this out up top, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna run that type of corner route and he just cuts inside. So it's really a nice double move.
I don't necessarily know if it was a double move or if it was a post corner, or because obviously we don't have that back angle. But it
Right.
certainly looks like he was trying to take that outside and then back in. Yep, so yeah, there's the hand element I want to see a little bit more of. On the other hand, you just have the feet to be able to create that, though, too. And a nice catch. Oh, nice job coming back for the ball.
Yeah, that would have been picked if he didn't come back to the ball.
Nice. So the one thing that we've been seeing a little bit more of in this particular game, this is versus Georgia, by the way. I know I didn't say that, but is we're getting to see a lot more of these contested catches. And that was something I had on my notes. I actually posted in the chat as something that may be a little bit of a possible, okay, what is he going to do with this? And so far in this particular game, we're seeing a lot more of these contested plays, and he's coming down with it,
Right.
both this play and the one before it. He got held.
Yeah, Georgia's number 27 is not doing a bad job. Or Georgia's secondary in general, should say, because that's not number 27, I just realized. But Georgia's Georgia's secondary is not doing a bad job of containing him in man, but he's just making contested catches, understanding leverage, understanding how to create space, and just executing.
And Georgia will have likely 3 day 1 or day 2 draft picks on this in the secondary. So this isn't a bad secondary at all.
One of them is this year, if I remember correctly, isn't it? Campbell? I think is his name.
All 3 of them are this year. There's Richard LeCount, who's one of the top safeties in this draft. Then there's Tyson Campbell, who's top corner, safety, nickel, whatever you want to call him. And then I believe there's one more. 1 second here. There's also Stokes.
Okay.
Eric Stokes, the corner.
Didn't they run this play in the Natty? I'm almost positive I saw that play in the national championship game.
Probably. Is that? Yeah. That because
That wheel
they.
route?
Yeah, and there's a linebacker on him.
I'm almost positive I saw that post switch in the.
Yeah,
in
I
the
remember
national
now. Yeah,
championship game.
you're right. You're not.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Excellent ball tracking on this play. Just a tremendous job. Mac Jones throws an end pass, and Smith is just tracking the ball the whole way, and he understands how to get to it.
Yep.
Again, a really strong block there.
And there's another contested catch.
Number 27. That's Stokes, a guy that's getting a lot of first round hype. So that's a really good corner, and he's done almost everything right. That's just.
Keelan, what do you think I'm looking at? Or Daniel, either one of you.
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you.
Daniel, why do you think I paused it at this particular frame?
I think that you're looking at the level of strength that Devonta Smith is exerting on this play here to go toe to toe physically with number 27 here, and make sure that you can create space through physicality and not just through route running.
Okay. That's actually not what I was thinking. That is a very good point. What?
Essentially, what I was thinking, just right, like I just more so his ability to create separation, like kind of like what Daniel said, but he's not fully extending his arm, and so it's at least from my vantage, it doesn't look like he's fully extending his arm, so it's not a penalty.
Okay, still not what I was going for. Again, a good point. But if I go a little bit further ahead, maybe that helps a little bit.
He's always. I mean, I don't know if this is what you're going for, but another point is he's always got his, he's got his head on a swivel, and he's actively looking for the football.
That's exactly what I was going for. Yep, is the ball tracking element. And Daniel actually brought that up a couple plays ago. But this is a really, really good example of making sure that you don't give away ball position by turning your head a little bit early so that you don't give the corner the advantage of playing the ball, making sure that they have to keep your eyes on the receiver. And that's part of why he's able to come down with this, is because the corner isn't able to prepare for the timing of that catch. So, your guys' thoughts on game number 2?
I'll take it first this time, since I missed the beginning of our convo last time. I'm still a massive fan. I really love what I saw there. Just his, he's just a really smart football player, and that's not something you see out of someone this young. But it's it shows not only his passion to learn, and his his coachability, and his willingness and wanting to succeed. It says more about that, as well as the state of the program, as well. Alabama is a top tier program, and Nick Saban is probably the best college coach of all time, and he's a really good teacher. But but from what I've seen on tape, not even from what I've heard on from Coach Saban and from people around him, he's just a really mature football player, and at 21 or 22 years of age. That's just the intangible. That's not even his physical skills that I'm raving about.
Daniel?
Yeah, I think, like you said earlier, Chris, you got to see a different side of his skill set. This game was against a very tough Georgia secondary that, frankly, played them pretty well. And so he had to go up and get some balls, and he had to make little adjustments to the football to make sure that he wasn't putting his quarterback in bad positions. Just a really, really strong performance in a different type of way than we've seen from his earlier performances against Florida. And so I'm just continually impressed by this kid's well-roundedness and versatility. Dude understands how to beat every single coverage out there. And it's just a tremendous asset to any football team he'll be drafted by.
Keelan?
Yeah, and just to add to that, what was I going to say? This, obviously, I don't think this defense that secondary played poorly at all. Or, Devonta wasn't open all that much. He just created separation, and he made plays. There's not much you can ask, a 20-year-old corner, much more than what, the secondary did against Devonta. He just beat him with his own pure physical skills that goes beyond just the mental traits. So it was really spectacular to see, as he burnt that Florida coverage in the game prior that we watched. But it was very nice to see his, he's able to win in different ways, I guess is the way I'm going to put it.
Do you know if he played against LSU this year?
I don't know. I imagine he did. I don't think he missed any games.
I mean, is in Alabama. Did Alabama play LSU?
Oh, yeah, they play LSU every year.
Okay. I just didn't know how that worked with the whole scheduling thing and everything.
They played 11 games this season, and all against conference. So yeah, they did play LSU.
Oh, okay.
And apparently, my I think Brandon in Lions chat told me that he absolutely cooked, and I quote, Derek Stingley's ass.
Yeah, I unfortunately I was being an idiot and I wasn't looking to the side where it literally has a thing here.
Oh, well, I didn't notice that either. So I guess
Yeah, I was very interested to see maybe when we're done with this game. We'll see what we can find from that, just for fun. While we go over our final thoughts at the end.
Yeah, for sure.
But we
Sounds
do
good to me.
we do have one more game of actual breakdown that we're gonna watch beforehand. So with that said, we
Yeah,
got
it's my favorite SEC school. It's a sad day. I don't really have too much allegiance to the SEC in general, but if I see a game on, I'm usually generally cheering for Mississippi, Ole Miss.
This was pretty early in the year, so it looks like we did go in reverse order.
Yep.
Which is fine. Oh man. Really what they're showing here is that burst in that first step, explosion off the line. And his ability to win with that free release.
Yep. So as we're not quite at the end, but we're getting towards the end of this evaluation. I haven't been watching tape as much as you have, but so far he's one of the better, probably the best receiver I've watched tape of, and I've only watched tape since 2017. I've only been following the draft since 2016, so not much sample size, but he's an absolutely tremendous receiver. So I'm just curious on your thoughts as you've watched many more receivers than I have, and I'm just curious where he ranks compared.
Very, very high, to put it bluntly and simply without going to an extreme. I'm pretty sure I have my grades figured out on him already. I'm very confident on 97. I'm going to end up going
Yeah.
24 hands, 24 rack, 24 technique, and 25 mentals, which is -3 or 97. And
Yeah.
like that's at the top of my board. Obviously, I've changed my grading system this year, but that's. I mean, Calvin was obviously a big thing a long, long time ago, but a very, very different style of receiver than Calvin Johnson was too.
Right.
So I would say he's got to be top 3. I don't remember any particular guys off the top of my head, which is why I'm hesitant to say number 1. Other than,
Yeah.
of course, Calvin. But I'm going to have him higher than I did Julio when he came out.
Fascinating. Cool. All right.
Now, of course, I say that with Julio being from Alabama as well.
Yeah.
Same thing with Amari Cooper, who I believe also went top 5. Same thing with Kelvin Ridley, who I also really, really like. I've been pretty high on Kelvin Ridley for a few years. Since his rookie year in Atlanta, at least. There's been quite a few Alabama receivers that have come out over the course of the last decade and a half.
Yeah. A couple last year, Judy and Ruggs.
Oh, yep, I have him above both of those guys.
Yeah, and you, getting back to the film here for a second, that's 2 plays in a row now that he's really showing exquisite rack ability.
Yep. And look at Mechie with the block. Obviously, he's going to get flagged for it, looked like, but it's a just really well-coached Bama team, man.
Yeah. I love Alabama receivers, man. They're just so fun, I wasn't super high on Ruggs last year, but Judy was such a fun watch other than, a couple glaring.
Drops.
Yeah.
Just say what for what it is. It's the drops.
But, his pure separation ability was amazing, and it still is.
Ooh. So this goes back to what you guys have been talking about for a little while. Specifically Daniel, right? Daniel,
Yeah.
you're still here, right? Okay.
Yep.
Just their ability to transition from north to that north-south style of rack.
Yep.
$88,000. I haven't done any. Oh man.
I see. I mean, can I just say something about Mac Jones here? Your receiver makes it easy for you, and you still do that.
Yeah.
He
It's
literally
not good.
simplifies it for you. He finds the gap in the zone. He makes it extremely easy to find him, and you still mess up the throw.
I'm aware that this isn't a Mac Jones evaluation, but if I may say something about Mac Jones, people say that he's an accurate quarterback. I would beg to differ based on this Devonta Smith film we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
And like going back to what we talked about last time, it's not that this ball is entirely quote uncatchable, because I do feel like really he kind of had a shot at that, but that is just not good.
That was even more uncatchable than the one that we talked about earlier. That wasn't even too high for him. That was too far to the sideline.
So
That was just
And I feel like a lesser receiver wouldn't have even tried to catch that ball.
exactly. Yep. Oh my god. Meanwhile, now of course it doesn't help that he's being pushed in, but like, okay. Nice try blocking. And watch the way that he gets off for the block. Okay. So he's going to block here. And he drives. Okay.
that's a great,
So we get to see the drive block. There he sets up for the block, he gets off, right? And he gets off for the pass play. Nice block by Munchie, speaking of blocking, but you really get to see the release does not necessarily disguise. It does disguise. Run pass. I mean, he'll miss a few blocks, but like at this point, it's whatever, really.
I haven't seen. Not many receivers have that type of willingness to block and compete like that. To me, the blocking ability almost pretty much comes second to the motor and the willingness to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're both equal, pretty much. They're both important, obviously, but it's just crazy. And
Nice one, Mochi. Good quick out. Beautiful angle. And most importantly,
oh man, he set that touchdown up.
oh man. Yeah, that's a little too much enforcement of the boundary.
Yeah.
So, question. Do you guys think there's a route that he cannot run?
Nope.
Not from what I've seen now.
I don't think so either.
I mean, other than his obviously blatant inability to run over the middle because he's too small. No. To be completely unironic, no, there's not a route that he can't run, in an NFL playbook.
Well,
Yep.
I don't really care NFL, CFL,
Well, in
XFL.
any playbook. I'm just saying that in a playbook that, well, I mean, Alabama's an advanced playbook, so, oh my.
Simple playbook, advanced playbook, backyard playbook,
What the?
Australian rugby playbook. I don't care. I
Okay,
trust him in every route.
Okay, never mind. I'm just saying that, yes, he can run any route, and that was a terrific catch that we just kind of glanced over.
Oh, okay. Another thing that we don't really get the chance to talk a lot about with receivers is their ability to, I think it was Daniel Jeremiah put this, look for work.
Yep.
And this is something that we, as I talked about before, we talked about running back traits already with him. We talked about tight end blocking traits with him already. Now we're seeing some offensive line blocking traits with him. And the ability to look for someone to block. Unfortunately or unfortunately, his assignment ends up getting blocked by an offensive lineman. So then he redirects to the next guy. And he realizes, okay, that guy's too far outside for me to block. So then he transitions, and it's for the third guy on the play.
Yep.
And you really do get the sense that he's putting in the same amount of effort to get everyone else going as he puts in to get his own stats, which is really impressive work.
You can put him as, I don't know the correct terminology in this, but if you're running a bubble screen or any type of screen, you can put him as the guy that will, catch the screen and you can put him in that lead blocker. It doesn't matter. He's gonna do the job with an equal amount of effort, and it's gonna be done well.
And then we're gonna have to catch. In this particular play, it's not a catch. But I mean, yeah, the 21 guy kind of messed up, but it is what it is. So I've already gone over my grades.
Yeah.
So
Go over them again.
okay, 24 hands, 24 rack, 24 technique, and 25 mentals for a total score of 97.
Cool. Well,
So while we wait for this to load, I'll let you guys go over your thoughts and your grades that you have.
I'll let Daniel go first because I'm just pulling up my spreadsheet right now.
I think Chris nailed it, honestly. Like 25 mental, 24 hands, 24 routes, and whatnot. I think that's about as best as you can put it. Like, dude, just
Right.
you struggle to conceive of a weakness that isn't size, which is also kind of mitigated by the fact that he doesn't show any lack of functional strength at all on the football field.
Interesting to bring up, and that might be why Chris paused it.
No, I just paused it so that you guys could go over your thoughts.
Oh, it has him listed at 175, which is quite interesting to me, because we've heard 160, we've heard 170, but 175 is pretty borderline a good enough weight.
Yep.
But yeah, so just pulling it up here, I honestly, I'll probably have the same grade as you, Chris. I'm not to steal anything, but you brought up great points. And really, he's just tremendous at pretty much everything, and it's really extremely difficult to come up with major flaws.
So yeah, I'm gonna put this in my thing. 6'9", 6. Oh, god dang it. 6.9 plus 6.9 plus 7 divided by 4 is 6925. Okay, so 97 of 100, which is an A, a solid A. And 6.925. Roll grade elite number 1.
You want to maybe pull this up on your laptop so the people watching can see too?
No, not for this particular one, because I already went over everything really major. I'm just filling in kind of the blanks.
Fair enough.
So, biggest strength is going to be mental traits for me.
Yeah, that's where I put.
Biggest weakness is durability question mark. Floor ceiling, I'm going to go with high floor, high ceiling.
Yeah.
And the bust chance for me is probably 15%, and that's only really because of where he's going. to probably end up, and the potential for injury risk. And then the games we watched were Florida, Georgia, and what was the third one?
Florida, Georgia, and Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. And then one sentence summary is, if he can stay healthy, he will be great in any system for any team. Player comparison is kind of tough.
I'm rolling with Marvin Harrison based on what we've seen today, and a lot of analysts have this same kind of comparison. So, but in terms of more current players, it's really tough because he has just a terrific blend of play style that's quite infrequent.
I'm going to say that I'm a little bit higher on this person than a lot of people, I would say, because he's more of an analytically friendly player than maybe the traditional lists are in favor of. But someone who's still going to be playing this week, can you guess who it is yet?
Who's playing this week? Bills, Packers, Bucks. Who else is playing? Oh, the Chiefs. Chris Godwin.
You nailed it. Yep.
Fascinating. Yeah, I like that. Actually, you know what?
For him.
I love that a lot.
Now, Stephon Diggs is another good one who is also playing this week.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of impressive that you got it on the first try. But I think the difference is that Diggs is a...
he's a lot more... he's a lot closer to Jerry Jeudy than he is Devonta Smith for me. Just that route, that type of more of a... I don't know how to describe it.
He has a little bit more of a release base.
Yeah.
I would say for me is the biggest difference. Stephon Diggs has the hand usage that Devonta Smith doesn't have yet. And Godwin is still developing some of those advanced techniques. But when you're talking production and what you expect out of him, he's going to be the best number 2 receiver on any team. But if he were to sign, for example, if Godwin signed somewhere else in free agency, I fully expect he'll be number 1.
And he'll be a really good number 1 receiver, too.
And I feel like Devonta Smith is kind of in that same kind of boat. And even Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is a perfect example of that. When he was in Minnesota, he was 1A with Adam Thielen, and now both of them are separated, and we're seeing both of them thrive.
And obviously Justin Jefferson as well succeed. But the thing with Godwin, Evans was hurt a lot of last season in 2019, and Godwin really flourished as the number 1 option for Jameis Winston.
Daniel, your thoughts on those comparisons?
So to jump in on this conversation, Marvin Harrison was a little bit before my time, so I won't comment on that. I'm sticking with my comp of Antonio Brown personally. I just think that his game really reminds me of Brown in terms of how efficient he is in movement and how he goes north-south on yak and just generally feels very Antonio Brown-ish. Plays bigger than his size because he has lots of functional strength and insane ball skills. So for me personally, it's Brown. But you guys can use whatever comp you want. I think that Diggs is a good one, and I think that Godwin is also not bad.
Interesting. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know how I completely feel about that, but it's not a horrible comp per se. I'm just not really, I guess, for me. I'm really excited. Hopefully, we get into Jamar Chase with both of you guys soon, because I'm really interested to hear your particular thoughts.
It's going to be hard for for anyone, I guess, in general, to surpass Devonta Smith for me.
Oh, for sure. I'm not really saying in comparison. I'm just more so curious your thoughts, because obviously Devonta Smith is a terrific football player. I think Jamar Chase is still going to be an elite grade for me, and he's absolutely phenomenal. So I'm really looking forward to watching him with you guys whenever we get the chance.
Yeah, I'm in.
Cool.
Free advertisement for Febreze.
I'm pretty sure Devonta Smith's the guy that's inside here, right?
Yep. On Stingley, who's predominantly outside corner, so I guess they really shadowed him with Devonta in this game.
By the way, obviously, shout out to the person who put this video together. I think I mentioned that earlier. Nice. Just one inside off the line.
I think this person's speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But obviously, I have it muted so that they get their credit and people go watch their video and everything else.
Right.
I'm more so just watching this, not necessarily so much for the analysis, but just for fun so that we can get a little extra glimpse at what Devonta Smith can do against an elite talent at the cornerback position.
Yeah. Obviously, Stingley, for anyone who doesn't know who he is almost
pick.
That's number one corner. Obviously, this year's cornerback class doesn't really have that like top 5 player like obviously last year with Jeffrey Okudah, who's now on the Detroit Lions, of course, but Stingley next year is really a terrific talent.
So, by the way, while we have it paused, this is actually a pretty interesting time to explain some potential things that could be going on in Detroit next year. Because for those of you guys who don't know, Aaron Glenn is a finalist, I guess, is the best term to use at this particular point in time, for the Lions defensive coordinator job. And he comes from the New Orleans Saints defense. He's the New Orleans Saints defensive backs coach right now. And the Saints are the team that leads the NFL in cover 2-man. I think they run 23% of cover 2-man. I forgot the exact number. But it is a very popular coverage for them. I believe it's their second most popular coverage behind cover 1. So they play, and they're number 1 in the league amongst all 32 teams in running cover 2-man. So the principles that you're going to see on this particular play, with the man here, the man here, the man in the slot, and then the 2 safeties over the top, is something that we'll see a lot of in Detroit this coming season. Obviously, different personnel and different matchups and different groupings and so on, but just in general, putting out the coverage philosophy.
For what it's worth, the Glenn official or the Glenn deal is basically official. I'm pretty sure the Lions just shot it down at first before, because this was before we obviously confirmed Dan Campbell as our coach.
Oh, was it?
But now that he's official,
I saw that he had interest from like 3 other teams.
Yeah, that was yesterday, and then this morning, when the Dan Campbell thing was official, one prominent analyst said that he was bringing him along with him, Glenn along with Campbell, of course. So I'm pretty confident in saying it's pretty much official. We're just waiting for pen on paper at this point.
Yeah, Ian Rappaport says that sources, Saints secondary coach Aaron Glenn is heading to the Lions as their defensive coordinator. The two are closing in on a deal. He'll join Dan Campbell in Detroit after the two were together in New Orleans.
Cool. Now, hopefully, we obviously do a better job than they did on this particular play running that coverage.
Never know. It's the Lions.
But just as a general idea while we're at that particular point. Yeah, so how much of this is on Mac Jones?
I mean, Smith is wide open up the seam there. If
So
like, for example, we saw.
That's not what he's going to run.
Oh, well, rip.
And he actually has to turn around with the ball.
Well, if we can take something positive out of this play, I mean, that's a great job by Smith going up to, go up for the ball and also ensure that it doesn't get picked off.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, so we're going to see a double move, it looks like. Scissors. Nice. My favorite play calls. Love it because you create that maximum space. I mean, he actually was the guy that got doubled. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So Mac actually makes the wrong read on this play. As you can tell by the other receiver being wide the heck open. Which is the design. But Devonta Smith doesn't matter.
Yep. He says, put whoever on me up, I'm just going to beat him.
Really? A 2-minute advertisement? Move. Yeah, so your goal is to obviously switch that coverage.
Right.
Daniel, I'm sure that you're very familiar with switching screens from a basketball standpoint.
Yes, for sure.
And LSU be looking like the Pistons with their switches. Bringing in a little bit of a different perspective. But yeah, he obviously has tons of graphs to work with at this particular point.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're really getting to see the potential that he has. And it, like, we talk about projection, right? And a lot of college scouting really is projecting how these guys are going to play at the NFL level. And the best way to minimize that projection, since it looks like that's the end of the video, is to compare them to how they're doing against potentially other NFL players. So in this particular case, we've gotten to see Campbell or Smith against Campbell, who is a projected NFL player. Stingley in this particular video, only a couple plays that they went over, but a projected to be good NFL player. We've gotten to see him against a couple of those Ohio State corners who are projected to be NFL players, and all kinds of other
Georgia.
over the course of his time. Yeah, I mentioned Campbell.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I thought.
But over the course of his entire career, we've gotten to see him line up against potential NFL corners. And we really get to see him find success against different coverage schemes, different coaches, different corners, different levels of talent, different surrounding talent. He's kind of being held back by Mac in some ways. So we're really getting to see him do in Notre Dame, very different schematically than LSU. So we're really getting to see him thrive and succeed against different styles of team and different coverages and different talent levels of competition. So definitely very, very excited to see where Devonta Smith ends up, and looking forward to watching him no matter where he ends up, whether it's Green Bay or Chicago or California with the Rams or Chargers, as he moves forward into his next phase of his career as a pro player. You guys?
My bet is that he goes to Miami.
Yeah, he's gonna be spending the next week with the Dolphin staff, with Brian Flores, with Chris Greer, they don't have an offensive coordinator, but with the receivers coach there, I can't remember who it is. But he's going to be spending a whole week there, regardless if he's on the field or not. He's going to be there. He's going to be watching film with them. He's going to be, with the receiver group, going to be learning, and he's going to really prove to them what we've seen on film with his wanting to work, wanting to be the best football player personally and be the best player for the team, and go out there and do whatever it takes to win, so that's why I really feel he's going to be a top 3 pick to the Miami Dolphins.
Daniel?
Yeah, I think that he's going to Miami. I would be very surprised if he fell to Detroit. Unfortunately, as much as I would love that, just seems pretty unlikely. But yeah, other than that, no thoughts.
So, where are you guys at in terms of a compliment for him? Like, could you guys see him opposite Devontae Parker? Or would you want to see him opposite Jalen Reagor in Philadelphia? Or What's the type of profile that you think he would work best opposite as? Do you want him with someone who fits that same style of receiver, like he's playing at with Alabama with the Waddles and the Ruggses and the Juggies, or do you want him opposite someone like just as an example, obviously this probably isn't going to happen, but a Michael Thomas or Julio Jones, I guess, would probably be a pretty good example too. With Atlanta, like one of those more physical contested catch guys to give a different look or a different style of receiver to the NFL offense.
I don't really think it matters, to be honest. He's gonna go out there, and he's gonna be the best. He's gonna be an amazing receiver, regardless if who he's across. If he's across from the fastest guy in the NFL, Tyreek Hill, or a guy like Julio Jones or Mike Evans. It doesn't matter who he plays with. I think he's gonna succeed in whatever situation he's put in.
Yeah, he's so versatile. I have no issue with paying him with whatever type of receiver, because he's just like talent is talent at the end of the day, and he's just so versatile and could win in so many different ways that it's like difficult for me to even conceive of a preference.
Yep.
Nice. So you guys have any other final things that you want to say before we wrap this one up?
I think we've gone through it all. I'm a big fan, and he's already tied for my number one prospect with Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, I'll put him below him for position value, but he's definitely a top 3 prospect in this draft. I would think once we get through the end of the process. I've only graded 20 football players right now, so.
Yeah, I got nothing to say.
Cool. With that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, learned a thing or two along the way. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this over the course of the next coming days, weeks, and months ahead as we head toward the end of April and the 2021 NFL Draft. But for now, hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, everybody, and peace out.